ditch the pitch. Got to ditch the pitch to absolutely influence at a higher level and get those real estate agents saying, you are so attractive. I love you. I want to do business with you. Ditch the pitch is the way to go. So we will go into that, some steps that you can take today to take action. You can joyfully and powerfully take action now on your business. Question is, are you the loan officer that takes action? The best loan officers out there get information. They have a little nugget of what they know can work, and then they just start taking action, and then they start growing their business now. The really ones that are able to focus and be totally open to the fact of these are things that can help me grow are the ones that grow. The ones that continue to be stagnant, the loan officers continue to be stagnant and not be able to grow, can't really focus on the things that are going to help them grow. Rather, they just are closed-minded to things that are new, that are going to help them grow. So I hope, my sincere hope is, because you're on this show, that you're totally open and you're totally focused on what is going to take priority in your business and take action today to act now on what is going to exponentially grow your business. So I love you. I care about you because you're here. And I tell you what, I may have some extra love for you if you do me a great favor. Do yourself a great favor. Do your fellow patrons of the loan officer world a great favor and get the word out there by liking and getting a great comment on a review on this podcast, and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Genius Loan Officer, and checking all the goodness out there. So please do us that great favor and yourself that great favor. And I tell you what, if you go ahead and you hit a review and you email Angel at geniusloanofficer.com, heck, correspond with her, may send you something really cool, send an address we can send something to. We'll send you something really cool as well, just because you took the extra time. So thank you. All right, so geniusloanofficer.com, hit the scheduler and schedule so you can start ditching your pitch and actually have a real model of selling, which are unclosing model of selling that will completely change the game, where you can show up different in your marketplace. You can grow, you can have the freedom that you want, and you can be significant to others. You can have that just a great sense of well-being, and people will be looking at you like a baller that you truly, truly are. So geniusloanofficer.com, schedule your call today. We'll see if you're a fit. And also, you do not want to miss, we're running out of spots, March 3rd, 4th, Breckenridge, Colorado. Sign up today. Okay. So ditch the pitch. Ditch the pitch. I don't know why that sounds really, really good. Ditch the pitch. That's a little bit off of I Love You, Man, the movie I watched again the other night. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen I Love You, Man, great movie. Get some laughs. The old model of selling, is just dead. It's dead. And what I mean dead is, can you get sales like some may out there? This is where you become closed-minded, where and the ones that are not really growing are closed-minded. The ones that you're talking to maybe hanging out and are closed-minded and they're not open to new ideas that are going to help them grow. They say, you know what, I read this book from 1930 that says you just have to be nice to people, and that's it. And pretty much that's what you have to do. And it's not really that complicated. And hey, you really have to know your term, your services, and you have to tell them how quickly close and all this stuff, and understand, like, the pitch is right around the corner, right? And it's like, well, I'm doing pretty good and I got this. And of course, what's pretty good mean? You just have to know your services and how quick you close, and you just have to, you just have to treat people good. Well, that's good stuff. That's like minimum in the ball game. But then what people do, and if you follow some of these people too, that think, oh, well, I know what I'm doing here, this is the great thing that you're supposed to be doing, is you'll notice a common theme of really a lot of missed opportunities. A lot of missed opportunities to influence, a lot of missed opportunities to be the authority that they need to be, and they become just a commodity. And how you do that is you do just show up. So the old model is 60% presentation, 20% kind of waiting to speak, and 20% closing. So those that say you have to just, hey, you have to know all these things so much, and somebody comes it's a precedent that's set off the bat, right? You come in as a loan officer, it's like, learn your programs, learn this, learn this, learn this. You got to know all this stuff before you go out there and sell. And I think that's where the MIG mess comes just right off the bat, because it's ingrained in our head from an early point. It's like when you're a child, right? When you're a child, remember, you're growing up and you're instilled some things, and maybe it was sit down and shut up kind of thing. And now you kind of have that, you have to overcome that sit down and shut up kind of mentality that somebody maybe said as a kid. And we carry that with us. And when we come into a career that kind of, we're like that, have a little of that childlike symptom going on, where we're impressionable, and somebody's like, hey, this is all you need to do, and you need to come in here and you need to learn all this stuff before you can go actually sell. And we hold that near and dear to our hearts, and that be just the baseline of everything and every decision we make. And that's where it's horrible. If I could have somebody come in that was the good fit to be a loan officer, I sure as heck am not telling them, like, learn everything you can about the loan products and what we do here before you go sell. It's like, have that in your daily, that you start learning that, but go out there and sell. Well, how do you sell? You got to tell everybody about your rates and your services, and you've got to be this complete expert and everything, and know all this. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You could take someone that's highly skilled, and I could, that does the unclosing method that we talk about, and you can be this high skilled salesperson, and they can go against some veteran that's been doing loans for 15 years and knows the products in and out, and they're like the freaking grandmaster of products and what goes on and all the inner workings and all this. And I tell you what, that salesperson is going to kick that LO's butt all day, every day, if they go out and meet, say, or even have a list of whatever they do, just out of the gates, and they say, okay, go get 10 new real estate partners to say, hey, yeah, we want to do business with you. And see who wins gets that finish line before. It will be that salesperson, like, over and over, 10 out of 10 times, is going to whip that 15-year veteran's butt all day, every day. Because a 15-year veteran is going to be, hey, I get my advantages. I know everything I can. I know way more about this, loans than this other person does. And that is the premise that will be the very reason why they lose to the salesman. That's the very reason. And so if you're telling yourself, oh my gosh, well, yeah, I'm saying, don't need to know anything about, the products or what I'm doing. Absolutely not true. If you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, well, it just is just, that person's just a salesperson, and I don't want to be looking at just a salesperson and not a great loan officer. Doesn't have to be this. It doesn't have to separate from each other, right? You can be the LEO, loan executive officer, which is a high level salesperson, high level marketing person, and happens to run this amazing baller business that has a team that can go from a high level, can sell at a high level, can market at a high level, and win. Your job as a loan officer is to win deals, to win partnerships, to win referrals, to influence a high level, to be as an authority. It's not to know every answer to every loan product or pitch your loan products and services, and how quick your turn times is, and how great your communication is. That is presentation mode, and that is losing you sales. If you don't understand that, if you think, oh man, I'm turned off by this, then you know what? This podcast name may not be for you. If growing and going outside of your conceptual zone of what your concepts are now is not what you enjoy, then maybe this is not the podcast for you, right? But you're here to learn and grow and be different and have freedom and be a baller, and people look at you, a baller, LEO of your business, then this is a podcast for you. But you're going to have to make some changes in your selling model. Selling model can't be presentation mode. Oh my gosh, what am I going to present about when I go to this realtor meeting? That is a wrong thing to be thinking. How do I learn more about them? How do I deep dive into questions that are going to bring out the emotions of how they do business, why they do business, what they're going to want to accomplish in the future? Yes, how can we intersect and help each other? That's not through this big presentation, So we'll go through our 5 steps that we go through in an closing method here today. And it's an overview. And yeah, you're not going to get every single detail in here, but it's going to start to open up. If you are open, it's going to open up your mind, your conceptual zone, to what's the concepts and how I can start thinking differently, selling differently. And when it comes to selling too, by the way, selling should not be a dirty word. If it's a dirty word to you, you got some bad messaging going on, right? Like, understand you got some bad messaging going on. Selling is a love language. Selling is something that is truly helping someone, be pulled into your world by being helped at the highest level possible, right? They're attracted to your ecosystem. You're not having to chase them down and tackle them and all of a sudden, just like you're a NFL DB and you're trying to grab onto somebody's shirt as they're running by and, oh, please, no. That's an old model of selling, and we're being commodity. Okay, so again, and so let's go attack the first scenario. By the way, if you're wondering, well, how would I sell and then not really know everything I need to know about the products or whatever? And this doesn't matter if you're a veteran, 15-year veteran, 20-year veteran, or somebody just came in the ball game. Well, I'll tell you my story. When I came in, I started doing loans. I started saying where I get loans from. Well, guess what? I had referral partner conversations and sat down with people, and I didn't know everything I need to know about loans yet. I had one confidence measure in my head, really, was that when I get loans, I will figure it out. I had the confidence and closure to know if I don't know the answer to it, that's okay. I will find out the answer. I'm very confident in myself, what work ethic I have, the way I show up, the way I know that I'm going to take care of people, to have confidence in myself that when they do show up, when there is a question, when things do start happening in a quick manner and I'm getting these referrals, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm make sure everybody's taken care of. I have trust in myself, which is the biggest trust we can have besides the Lord and Savior, is a trust in ourselves. That we are going to show up, we're going to do the things. And by the way, that is the biggest trust that you need to have in yourself, and the reason why you're not doing some things. That's the reason why you're not signing up for a program. You may be sitting there going, oh my gosh, like, well, I mean, I kind of think about signing up for Genius Loan Officer, but realize the trust in yourself is the biggest thing. It's not trusting us where we're going to do a good job, or we're going to take care of you, or we're going to teach you things. It's really trusting yourself. And if you don't believe that, then you have some more work to do. Let us help you with that. But you got trust in yourself. That is the big linchpin. So you think, how can I start selling? Trust in yourself. Trust to know. And how you do that is you do the little things that build the trust within yourself. You can't cancel appointments, right? Like, for example, that's one big one. Like, even if it's an insurance agent that's trying to get business from you, when you start canceling appointments because, well, that's I made that appointment and I made that arrangement and I said I was going to do that, but I'm not going to do it because it doesn't serve me now. That is a slippery slope, because that is eroding trust with ourselves, that we said we're going to do something, and then our unconscious mind really doesn't understand the difference. We just said we're going to do something, now we're not going to do it. Now all this, all this stuff pings off our head. Oh, we have some feelings behind this. You have feelings behind this. So be honest with yourself. When you go to cancel that, oh my gosh, you're probably going to be upset with me. All these things, all these unconscious things happen, and we're eroding trust with ourselves. And therefore, when these keep happening, we can't trust ourselves to make these big decisions. We can't trust ourselves to say, hey, even before I know the answer to these questions, or I know that I'm going to be best, I know all the answers are going to be asked, etc. I already know, because I trust in myself, I'm going to do those things because I show up continuously when I say I'm going to. I do the things I said I'm going to. I do the extra I'm going to. So when we don't wake up when we're supposed to, we don't do the little things we're supposed to, we don't do things that are really pushing ourselves outside our conceptual zone or our comfort zone. For example, maybe it's cold showers in the morning. Oh my gosh, like, oh, I can't do a cold shower. Well, do something that brings you outside of that comfort zone, that says, hey, you know what? I said I'm going to do it. I'm just doing it. And I already did uncomfortable stuff, and I said, this is my advantage. So you can start having these real confidence that you can just show up even when you don't know all the stuff, and it's going to work itself out. And when I was able to do that, and I knew I had those confidence in myself of how I was going to show up, and I had a lot of confidence from when I was a powerlifter for years and years, and I knew that I was going to show up and I was going to do the work and I was going to keep pushing and I was going to freaking grit it out and all those things, that really all that added up. And I was able to say, you know what, it's going to work out. I'm going to figure it out. And then guess what? I did. I had 16 applications my first month, and that, to apply for a mortgage. Next one, 35. All of a sudden, boom, out of the gates. There's 13. I had 13 loans like come in within, I think it was like a week's time, and I had no idea how to close the loans. No idea. Was there a little bit of angst? Yes. Did I push right through it? Yes. Was everybody happy with how, when it closed, how the communication was? Absolutely. People love me, and I was getting more deals. So I could have waited around until I knew everything, till I had all the answers, and I would have been sitting there 6 months in, 8 months in, going broke, getting out of the business. Okay. So take action. If you don't know it all, take action, and have trust in yourself and confidence in yourself that you're going to do these things. So, all right, let's go. All right. Our way of unclosing, we have 5 stages here, and we're going to go through a little bit here and give you some little bit of that outside the concepts. So we're start thinking about what's the new model, what's a model that can really help me elevate. Number one, our first one is the connection stage, and we'll unpack that and think, oh, I'm just connecting. That's fine. Oh, well, or whatever. Don't get in Dunning-Kruger effect, which says that you think you know more than you do, right? Have you ever met that person that they seem to know it all, but they never have seemed to do anything? Right? Okay. We all do this from time to time. We, have a little bit of knowledge, but we're not. It's that old question: do you know to do that, or are you doing that? Right? Is that something you know or something you do? There's a huge, huge difference between knowing and having a skill set. It's not even in the same ball field. Literally not in the same. Everybody knows that person that knows it all and everything, and they never have any business coming in. They know everything and they just don't know. But okay, so they don't really know it. And when you ask them any questions, they totally go off track because they have no idea. they just had a few things and they're staunch in that, right? So don't ever get in that Dunning-Kruger effect. If you can, you start feeling yourself to be that way. Hey, do I really know that? Okay, I don't. Let's not speak on it. Let's make sure that we get, and that again, that's not again, we can take action like we talked about earlier. It's just knowing that, hey, as we're taking action and we know that we continue to grow along the line and we don't bypass when somebody's saying something just to go, okay, I know that, right? So don't get in that zone, okay? So connection, pattern interrupts off the bat, like are going to help you with connection. So think about this again, you know, what pattern interrupts can I do off the bat that are so far different? The moment that we all have scripts, every one of us has scripts. I don't care where, if you go to McDonald's and, you know, they have that script, right? So think about it, McDonald's, they have that script, you know, people come into the, you know, furniture store where I used to, run a furniture store, and, or maybe it's a car dealership, and you come in there and you just find yourself coming into a car dealership and somebody says, hey, how you doing today? And you're like, I'm just looking. You already have that script, right? We all have scripts. And the way to break that script is pattern interrupts, something that's far different than everybody else. So the moment that we trigger a script, it can be, scripts can work for you or against you in a sales process. But once it's shut down, just understand that focus is your number one currency. That's a number one thing you have to have. You cannot influence anybody if you don't have focus. You have to capture and lead focus throughout conversations, throughout sales process, throughout marketing processes, et cetera. If you do not capture and lead focus, then you're losing sales, you're losing influence, you're losing impact, and you're losing that connection for certain. So how can we create pattern interrupts that are far different? You know, we can use some shock. Hey, other loan officers saying this, I'm saying the polar opposite. Things that are completely different that are going to cause us to be able to open that window, to be able to connect with people, to have that focus. So pattern interrupts, number one. Hooks, throw hooks in there really early. Bah, hook. It's like when I was a boxer, throw that big hook. You know, hooks are something thrown in there to really start churning those wheels, right? Where the focus can be like, wait, what do they got going on later? So it could, you know, if you throw these hooks in to your sales process, it's going to start getting people to have real intrigue, which is going to have connection. So, you know, you could say stuff like, this may not be for you, but when you find yourself interested, right? Later, it may be appropriate I share with you blank that has produced blank. This may not be for you, but when you find yourself becoming more interested, as that naturally happens, I invite you to share questions about our exclusive Genius Realtor playbooks that has helped hundreds of top producing agents around the country quickly grow their business. This may not be for you, but when you find yourself interested, I invite you to share questions about our exclusive referral magnet system that has helped our very best agents effortlessly close more deals, right? So we're throwing in hooks off the bat. Pretty cool stuff, right? Throwing in hooks, and then we're just moving on. Like, well, what's that? Throw a hook, get out, and now we're continuing a conversation. So this is starting connection. It's like, oh, they got more, and hey, I want to hear that later, kind of thing. And you can continue to throw that hook in later, even in a reminder throughout the conversation, which is really cool. Background questions, present situation questions. Definitely get into that connection stage about them. And by the way, there's a trap. There's a trap all the time we're going to fall into. This is where, people get into presentation. We talk about it, 60%. Think about this model of selling, the old model of 60% presentation. And some have the best intentions even off the bat. And they're going, hey, you know what? I'm not going to present. I'm going to learn about them. But guess what? 90 some odd percent of loan officers around you, and you're going to be different, right? You're going to be so much different after this conversation. That's going to help you not be like everybody else in your market. what they do is they get this trap, you know, it's very easy to fall into. You go to the real estate agent, you're talking to them, and all of a sudden, you know, really early in that conversation, they ask, what's your rates? And you're like, oh, hell yes. I actually have really good rates. Or, hey, tell me about your turn times. Oh, hell yes. Whoop, whoop. I'm in the money now because I crush turn times. And now the trap has been set. And now you go into presentation mode for the next 10 minutes talking about how quick your turn time is. And you have lost focus, you've lost influence, you've lost connection all along the way. Because even if your turn times are really fast, that may not be what's most important to the agent just because they asked this question. It may be one of the things that is a factor, but it still can put you and not a true value to your partnership. Remember, here's the thing. We do realtor playbooks, like for our loan officers to be able to go out there and fetch. We have these done for yous. We have all these things, all these cool stuff to really get in front of partnerships. But let me give you a really key here. And just like we spoke about, if you have something really, really cool when it comes to a program or anything else, anything you got, any tricks or whatever stuff you got up your sleeve, all it is a window of suggestibility. That's it. So let's unpack that. What's a window of suggestibility? Meaning that you have something that at least opens up the conversation enough to have a deeper conversation. But if that is your whole conversation, is that your presentation conversation, if that ends up leaving with that the bulk of his presentation on this, then you've lost. It should just be the window enough to get in there and deep dive into what is really, really important to them. Who are they? Where are they trying to go? How do they see themselves? What is how do they actually make decisions? Is it because they want to really be different? Because why they make decisions due to what they do? Is it just the ROI, return on investment? Everything's a return on investment. Is it, you know, the result they want from the, you know, loan officer themselves, is it really just a growth and is maybe freedom so they can, you know, they do more stuff because you're helping them reduce the time they have? What is all those factors that are going into the decision of why they make the real big decisions, right? So those are the keys, and we go in deep level of psychology of how those things work. And again, if you're sitting there, oh, I don't really need to know that, I've got deals before. Well, okay, okay. So yeah, come on. There's way deeper psychology than just kind of showing up and throwing up and kind of just knowing them a little bit rather than just influencing at a completely different level. So, so that's a trap. Don't fall in a trap. When they ask you, it's simply, absolutely. We have amazing turn times. And when you say, you know, what's your turn times, is that something that's important to you? Yeah. Okay. How so? Right. We're back to them. Boom. Right back to them before we're answering. I'll share this story with you. Is that, gosh, this is one of the best stories to illustrate. And I told this before. It's something that continues to be just, gosh, top of mind in all these sales conversations, and people have really found a ton of benefit from this. So think about this. I am 6 months in to my career as a loan officer. I am absolutely crushing business. I just, like a few weeks earlier, am in front of 300 and some odd loan officers telling how I went from 0 to doing 20 loans in a month in just a 6 month in. People are like, holy crap, how did you do that? So I'm big shot, things are going well, I'm crushing deals. Everybody, you know, has been happy with my services. Man, I'm feeling myself a little bit. And I get a call, and this agent's like, hey, this is blah, blah. I'm you know, I'm calling you because I heard you close loans really fast. Is that true? I'm like, hell yeah, it's true. I'm like, man, I tell you what, I close loans. I've closed some loans in as little as 10 days, and we're closing loans less than 30 days all the time, and blah 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 blah, and I go on, and go on. Right, and I tell her all this. I go in full presentation mode, and I'm like, yeah, this is why, and I get done with it, and I get absolutely stunted, shocked, just thrown off my total game, because she comes back and says, I don't know, I don't know if I like that. That seems stressful. I'm like, and she goes on, really, her biggest thing was she likes a stress-free closing, just closing 30 days or less, everybody knowing about 3 days beforehand, that's closing on time and everything's wrapped up. That's it. I never got a deal from her. It was a layup. It was a trap. I was a presentation ditching. Should have ditched the pitch, but I pitched because I fell for this trap. She called me. She's ready. All I got to tell her is how freaking amazing I am, and present to her and have this great pitch. And she's just going to lay down and start throwing me deals everywhere. It just didn't happen. But if I would have done these steps, and I would have said, you know what? I'll just name her Mary. We certainly do close really quick. But what's quick like? What's quick for you? What's your definition of quick? Well, 30 days or less. Okay. And I could have taken her down that. And is that really what's most important to you? Oh, stress-free. Has that been an issue before in the past? Has that caused a little bit of an issue? Right. All these things that could got deep layers, and really her to feel heard of what she really wanted and how she looked at herself. And she looked at herself as being very intelligent, being the consummate professional, right? I could have known those things and really just dove in and just injected a shot of drug of compliments and of all these other things and questions that would have lit her up and made her feel like, oh my gosh, this is great. You're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I wouldn't have had to tell her I'm great in the things I did, because it would have been just implied, because I was doing such a great job with her in this conversation. Right. So just let that be a lesson to you. Don't go into presentation and pitch, no matter what. It's a trap. There's the influence stage, half truths. By the way, this is a really good one. Remember this half truth all the time. Just because they say that they really like their lender, we got to look at it like, where do you like where you live? And you may say yes, right? You like where you live. If you could live anywhere else in the world, where would you live? And it's probably going to be a complete opposite. If you ask 100 people, 95 of them are going to say they would live somewhere else. Point being that just because they like their lender doesn't mean they're so in love with them that they won't switch. So stop stopping there, right? If you go with that trap and you go presentation and you try to argue and you try to go, hey, this is why I'm better and everything else, you're going to lose, and they're just going to shut off and be like entrenched in I got the lender of choice. So awareness questions, pain questions, challenging questions, challenge, like people talk about rapport. Sometimes you got to break rapport and have that little friction of like, okay, you said, these things are not working out, but what have you done to change that? Right? When are you going to change that? How's it going to look if you don't change that? Right? You should be challenging, having some challenging questions. It's going to bring out a lot of goodness, and they're going to feel like, oh man, this person really gets me, and you're going to be looked at. And the next stage, which is authority stage, you're going to get in that authority stage. That's going to be your feedback, and just not just a big presentation. The stage where you're like 20, 40%, 60% presentation stage. The authority stage is simply just going to be, you said this. When you said this, we may have something that could help by this. Would you like to hear more about this? Awesome. Great. Let's talk about that real quick. Here you go. What more questions you have about that? Oh, let me tell you a story. Stories are huge. So tell a story in your authority stage can really create authority based on what they've already told you. It could be important. Then the collaboration stage is, we do not go into closing stage, by the way, here. There's no closing. We're all the way opening up the whole time, and the biggest thing in collaboration stage, they tell you they want to work with you. They tell you why the reason is they want to work with you. They tell themselves, more importantly, the most important, they're telling themselves why it's important to use you. So if you can ask some great questions, which we go through in our trainings, collaboration, where they're telling themselves why it's important to use you. And guess what? You don't have to close them. And then you get into action stage, which doesn't take long, right? Like, what is that going to be the logical next step? And so, we'll go through more deeper layers in that, but think about that. So if you go through these 5 stages and think, okay, like how much time are these going to take? This unclosing method is going to open up the whole way, and you're going to feel better about it. You're not going to feel like you're begging for business. Oh my gosh, I'm begging for this business. You're going to feel much freer. They're going to feel much better. They're going to feel like empowered on this. They're not going to feel like, oh my gosh, I got to keep pushing off, and oh gosh, when's it going to come, and when is it going to hardcore close me, and oh my gosh, he's just telling me stuff I don't need to know, or she's telling me stuff I don't need to know, and oh my gosh, I don't care about 1968 the company started, and because of what, I don't care, even if it's stuff that's really nice. We donate so much money. They don't care about that presentation mode until like it really applies to them, right? Till you know about them. They know how much you care about them. Those things are going to matter. So, the old model selling, are you doing the old model selling? And I would say that if you're on here, a big majority of you are you're using the presentation mode way too much. Don't suffer from premature presentation. That is a Mike Weinberg. I went to an event one time, and he said that always stuck out, so funny, but so true, right? You don't suffer from premature presentation. So obviously for obvious reasons, why that's also funny. But don't suffer from premature presentation. You definitely, because we're starting to present right early in a conversation. As soon as they say something, we're pitching our services. Rather, we should be unclosing, opening up, having these stages of connection, influence, authority, collaboration, and then, hey, what is next action we can take together to grow, and stuff like that. So big stuff for you out there as you start to apply these things. And we go, gosh, so deep level of like how people make decisions. And it's one thing to say, hey, people buy on emotion and justify with logic, but not really know how to put that together. We put that cheat code together in our trainings, which is really cool and exciting. You use it in your sales and in your marketing. In our money magnet system marketing we have, you could put it in there, and gosh, it's really cool stuff to create all these levers to be able to do more business, to show up differently, for people to want to book scheduled calls with you and learn more about how you all can collaborate, rather than all this just please give me deals, etc., that may be going through your mind. And guess what? When you're pitching, then it feels really it's almost controversial to you, right? Like I got to run through this wall. I got to get up. I got to call 40 agents today and beg them for business and all that stuff. You could call 40 agents and not feel like you're begging for business when you're actually unclosing people. I can tell you that, by the way. and I'm not saying advocating, we're just picking up and calling 40, but I'm saying that you can literally, that one thing, when you could sell correctly, you don't care. You're like, man, I know I can influence at a high level, and I know it's not, combative when I'm selling, because I'm opening up conversations, I'm opening up dialogue, I'm opening up ways for them to grow their business just simply by us having a conversation. So really, really cool stuff, but you got to ditch the pitch today. Don't fall for the trap. And, the drill. Come, when you need help, you're trying to grow now. Our very best clients are being able to grow their business by up to 467%, while also doing it in 6 hours a day with our G6 program. So really cool stuff. It's out there for you. Got to first start believing in yourself, trusting yourself to make the right decision, to show up. If you trust yourself to show up and do the right things, and do what it's going to take, and listen to new concepts, new ways of doing things, business, then hit us up. If you're willing to do those things, it's going to work out well for you. Very, very well, very handsomely for you, very beautifully for you. GeniusLoanOfficer.com. You know the drill. Limited risk equals limited income.